agricultural district in the top agricultural state. And just last year, California became the world's 5th largest economy. And, you know, that's attributed to lots of things: financial services, entertainment, technology. But left out of that story is our state's ag industry and our rural regions. And as you know, that our rural regions are some of the most beautiful and bountiful places in the world. They produce our commodities for all of our Americans, you know, food, water, and open spaces. And our farmers and ranches are the cornerstones of these economies, and when they succeed, our communities succeed. And, you know, one crucial piece of the success is the USDA rural development programs. And as you well know, you've been there and you can attest that our district and throughout the Central Valley, they're very rural. But the problem I keep on hearing when I talk to these communities is that they can't access these programs because of the myriad of definitions of what is rural as defined by the USDA. And so I'd like to hear what the administration is doing to, you know, to make sure that these programs, these very valuable programs, are available to really our rural communities so they can access this federal assistance.
Sure. You've hit on a very serious issue. Unfortunately, it's not determined by USDA. It's statutorily defined in these rural definitions, and I would encourage this committee to look at a common definition of rural that you could direct in many of our programs regarding access. We're limited to defining rural as under 20,000 in many places, under 10 in some other places. So we would love to have a common definition because the rural, I mean, places that might have been 10,000 10 years ago may be 20 now, and those that might have been 20 are now 40 and 50 and still need help in their growth, many times in their growth of water treatment plants and others in a more definitive way. So we would love to have a comprehensive definition of rural. We were hoping to get that in the Farm Bill, and that was not one of the things that we could agree upon.
Well, I guess that's why we're elected to Congress and why we sit on this committee. And certainly, you know, we've talked about it a little earlier and touched on it. I just want to hit it on again, but you know, with regard to disaster relief, but really we haven't spoken about the causes of the disasters in the first place. And just once again, how does the issue of climate change affect, influence, and guide the forecasts, the policies, and programs of the Ag Department?
Well, again, we're trying to do better meteorological forecast on a longer-term basis, our drought monitor and different things like that. Aside from causes, we are trying to mitigate the effects with better research of crops and seeds, as also practices regarding cover crops and things like that that have better quality water runoff and less carbon footprint from less trips across the field, those kind of things, and limiting that, no-tilling, all those practices. I think our producers are doing a much better job. They're much more aware than they ever have been, but we can always do better.
No, thanks so much. And to reiterate Mr. Harder's, Mr. Carvajal's, Mr. Panetta's, myself, and Mr. Costa's invitation, we'd sure like to see you back out in California sometime soon.
Well, I'm going to come to your district. I've already been to there.
Okay, thanks again, Secretary. And I yield back the rest of my time.
Thank you, gentlemen. The gentleman from Kansas, Mr. Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, Mr. Secretary.
You've been patient.
Yeah, you're doing, I appreciate you being here.